Mixed Tag Show.
The Mixed Tag Show.
With Jenna and Blue.
Damn.
Now, here's your host, Jenna and Blue Magic.
What's going on? It's the Mixed Tag Show with
Jenna and Blue.
There you go. I found the use for the extendo of the microphone.
Don't play with that before they charge us for breaking.
No, that was you last time.
Was it fixed? I don't know if it was fixed or not.
Okay, let's not talk about it because she may not know.
You don't want to remind
Nope.
people.
How was your week?
I'm sick, so
Sounds like it.
yeah. So that's pretty much what I got going on. How was your week?
It was okay. Had a kind of a bummer week, I guess you can say. Hasn't been really of a up and up. I had to go to a funeral on Monday and got reminded of how the urban area is currently, and just put a damper on the week for me, kind of.
Yeah.
Had to
I'm
go.
sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling, but
No,
hopefully there's a brighter days ahead of us.
there will be.
I mean,
Definitely will be.
good thing we have wrestling to escape.
That's
like
true
your hoodie.
because thank you. You know what's coming up?
Tomorrow's Friday.
I'm well aware of that, but do you know what's coming up?
Wrestlemania.
There you go. In New York, New Jersey.
New Jersey, New York.
I want you to see. I want people to see this hoodie. This is
There's a printing error. I spoke to our Connect.
You didn't speak to anybody. The silhouette
I
is
spoke to
of
our
the
Connect.
Statue of Liberty. But okay.
This is the middle that was sent to Jersey. You ever did your history?
Nope. The Statue of Liberty is the silhouette of this logo for this year's logo. But okay. But continue to think we care about Jersey.
New Jersey, New York. Anywho.
On the hoodie it also says New York, New Jersey. But continue.
Like I said,
I
it was
like
a
your
printing
hoodie.
error.
I like your hoodie as well.
Why, thank you. It's the Macho Man hoodie. I decided to go a little classic today.
Yes.
I didn't know they ran so small.
A lot of things are running small nowadays, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know. Really? You gonna bring that up again?
I mean, people don't actually know what happened.
Whatever. Anyway, at least this was as small as the previous wear that was sent my way.
Yes.
But this was be an extra large and, kind of snug, but I like it.
Okay. Well,
So-
sometimes it don't have to be loose. It can be a little snugged.
I guess. But if you want to cop one of these hoodies, head on over to the WWE shop. Click on the link in our bio at the Mixed Tag Show or on our personal at
Miss Jenna Baby, BAYBEE.
or Blue Magic Grind, spell how it sound, or in our YouTube in the description in below. Boop, 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 boop. You click on the link down there and head over to the Mixed Tag Show's WWE shop Connect.
Yeah, you definitely got to get your hoodies going because we are on the East Coast,
Huh.
the Northeast. It looks like it's going to be decent spring weather. However, yeah, like 60s. Starting up WrestleMania week with access and all that. It looks like it's going to be in the 60s, but as the day goes on, it gets definitely colder, cooler.
Yeah.
So this hoodie will definitely
Keep you warm.
keep me warm.
Especially if you're not from the area. See, 60 is good for us.
Yeah.
16 might not be good for you.
Which is funny because I remember at last year for NOLA, I went, and I guess I think we were all expecting good weather, but
Yes.
I was cold, but it was like 60. No, it was like 54, and I was cold. But I'm like, if that was here, it's warm. It's different. It's different.
You really felt cold at NOLA?
Hell yeah.
I didn't feel so cold.
Oh, it's definitely cold.
I mean, did I bring a hoodie? I probably bought a hoodie on myself.
I even think I got sick like one day, but then I was out here with some short shorts and
Oh yeah, you were
like
summertime.
Yeah, I thought it. Listen, we were going down south. I thought that's what it was at, but clearly global warming is real.
I got caught like that.
Topic.
I caught that like that when I went to Disney World with my son one time because his birthday's in February. I'm like, yo, this is Florida. We should be good.
Yeah.
Go out there with our T-shirts. Start walking around. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this ain't it.
Yeah.
But you know what else you could cop?
What?
Street. How did it? Dang it! I always forget this.
When street fashion meets wrestling, or wrestling fashion meets street.
Collar and elbow.
There you go.
Where street fashion meet wrestling fashion? Is that right? Don't quote us. You know what it is. Go ahead and click in the Mixed Tag Show's link also and use our code
TMTS.
Which stands for the Mixed Tag Show, so you can't really...
Which is the show they are listening to. I think they're well aware of what it stands for.
You will be surprised.
Really? Well, what else would it stand for?
The man and the show.
Exactly. But you know what they won't get mixed up?
What? Oh, sorry. It's time for the Mixed Tag Show Season 3 Fantasy Draft. Well, fantasy. It's not a draft anymore.
Okay. Well, you still call it fantasy draft, though.
I'll be messing up.
Okay.
Over to you, Gina.
All right, John. So it looks like this week in the lead is the Knight Riders with 224.2 points. Astro had a really, really, really good week.
Looks like he's going to run away, maybe.
He may. And this is till SummerSlam, right?
Yeah. We got time.
It's time to... I mean, listen. Mixed Emotion is not too far off. So anyway, but after that, we have the Nation of McFly Nation. Craig, you ain't got to lie, Craig.
I'll put that on the list. I was picking my list.
It was supposed to be Bailey. You're supposed to put a lot of things.
Bailey, New Day, All, Flamethrower, and you ain't got to lie, Craig.
197. Next up is Mixed Emotions with 105. The McMahon Regime 2.0. Actually, I apologize. Mixed Emotions, you are not next. It's actually the McMahon Regime 2.0 with 123 points. Then Mixed Emotions with 105. Undisputed Art Era, 25 points. And the favorite posers, X3 with negative 20 points. This is just not a good draft for you, my guy.
Nah, it's not. Shout out to him, though. I was on his live with him.
Was it?
During the week. I think it was earlier this week.
Is a very entertaining fellow, I'll tell you that much.
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. We were just up on his live just talking wrestling.
He is an entertaining fellow.
Yes, he is. He should go on the show so I could curse. So I can say...
Anyway, with that said, in first place overall, the Knight Riders with 1,327.7 points.
I bet you it's not rigged now, huh?
Right. Second is Mixed Emotions with 1,081.5 points. Third, the Nation of McFly Nation, 761.1 points. Fourth place, Undisputed Art Era, 324 points. Next up, the McMahon Regime with 287.5. And last, and certainly not least, X3. You should actually get that, like a soundbite for that. You have to go on his video and just But you're a smart guy. I'm pretty sure you can figure that out.
Smart guy.
Excuse me.
Do you not remember that song?
Of course I do. 138.1 points. X3 favorite posers. What's up, man? He can actually catch up to Saeed because he's not doing that well either.
Is that the Vince McMahon Regime?
Yeah.
2.0? What happened to 1.0?
Well, the McMahon Regime, as in Vince, Shane, and
I guess.
Anyway.
And that's our fantasy, the Mixed Tag Show Season 3.
Stay tuned for next week. Hopefully I'm not lazy and I do the points next week. Because I may not even do it the following week because it's WrestleMania week. So
yeah, the next 2 weeks is going to be kind of rough for us guys because we're also trying to shooting some stuff. So bear with us for the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
On to your show. So I need you to coach me, run through this with me because I didn't really watch it. I only watched the last hour.
Okay, well, there is another segment I do want to discuss, so we can go through it. But we'll start off with the Beat the Clock challenge with the Riot Squad. You didn't watch this?
No, I caught the last hour of it.
So what are we gonna talk about?
We gonna talk about it. I got opinions.
Alrighty. Well, with that said, essentially what happened was there was a challenge to beat the Riot Squad. Whoever beat you understand what the Beat the Clock. You have Beat the Clock challenges. Yeah, and Becky won. I mean, what did you think? I don't know what you think. So.
But my thing is, why would you have a Beat the Clock challenge for these three when there's no like. Usually when you beat the clock, there's like a reason for it. Like you get to be number one entry of this, or you get the last entry of that. What was the point of this beat the clock? And then why do they continue to pick the Riot Squad to be buried?
Yeah. It's the same thing. I feel the same way in that sense. It was just like, and again, we say this every week, and we're going to actually post it for this upcoming Sunday for those of you that follow us on Instagram.
At the Mixed Tag Show.
At the Mixed Tag Show. Good plug. On Sundays, we typically post theme songs and what have you. One of the themes we're going to post is The Rock and Stone Cold's promo for WrestleMania 17, right? And that the whole build, right? It just got you so amped with Limp Bizkit's My Way, and it was a lot of emotions and just going back and forth.
Told the story.
It told a story. This is just still not telling the story. And you would think, all right, 2 weeks going into WrestleMania, nothing, right? And then the fact is, like, you know, we discussed it, and a lot of people were like, Asuka last year was still showing up on Raw, whatever. But then after a while, she was on SmackDown.
She disappeared.
Now it's like, okay, what's happening? Like, you have them both, like, at least have Ronda show up on SmackDown at this point,
right?
Because it is super inconsistent. There was nothing. This match did nothing for anybody. Absolutely nothing.
Even the time, like, I'm looking at the time, like, 1:25, 1:19. Like, why? What was the point of that then?
Yeah. Like I said, as soon as I saw that, I was just like, listen, I don't care. Like, I've checked out, and I'm assuming you put in regards that they were officially announced as the main event, so we'll discuss it a little bit more. Yeah. But this did nothing for no one. Ronda was okay on the mic, okay. But it was awkward the whole, okay, I'm gonna drops mic and then keep picking.
I saw that when I was reading about what happened.
Yeah, so that was it didn't look good. But yeah, that was that segment. You don't have here, and I'll discuss it a little bit more. Aleister Black and Ricochet faced the Revival, and it's like, again,
I saw your tweet.
Make it make sense. It doesn't. I don't understand. Okay, we gave you the title so you don't leave, or whatever the case was. But okay, you're not making them look like a legitimate tag team.
At
One,
all.
Two. Do they even have a match set for WrestleMania?
No, but I'm guessing they're gonna face Aleister Black and this guy in the freaking opener.
I mean, and at this point, if you're gonna keep having them lose, then have them attack them backstage. Like, tell me that there's gonna be
some kind of frustration, something.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, and Aleister, and I get what they're doing at this point with Aleister and Ricochet, because it's just like you were hyping them up for the Dusty Rhodes Classic and everything like that, but they're not a tag team.
They're not. You know how I feel about that.
It's just like, I don't understand why we keep putting single competitors in tag team matches. They look great together, and,
right.
And I'm hoping maybe it's a situation, I think you said that someone turns on the other, right?
I'm praying for it.
But it just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
I don't want to put this in here either. How did Boston Hug do in their...
Boss time!
So Sasha Banks returned to her hometown of Boston.
Right.
It's the only thing about Boston I like. That is the only thing. Anyway.
And that's a stretch a bit. You're lucky. You're lucky with that one. You lucked out.
You lucked out that you're from Boston. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I was shout out to Astro. We were talking about it, and he was like, excuse me, he was like, he doesn't really care for when Sasha and Natalya face each other. And I thought the same thing too. I feel like their matches are slow. Like, I understand Natty's a really good technical wrestler, just whatever, but I don't necessarily get excitement out of her matches. The one at TLC with against Ruby, that was pretty good.
Right.
But as I continued to watch the match and then like saw GIFs online and what have you, then I saw, wait a second, Sasha she like introduced a couple new moves, right? And I was like, oh, okay. And then it started to pick up.
Right.
Like, especially when, you know that move that Natty does when she steps on their back?
And then drop kicks.
Yeah. And no one ever, like, seems to get
out of the way.
Out of it, Sasha did. So she pulled her, and it pulled her into a bank statement. So every time she gets someone in the bank statement, it wakes up the crowd, right? That was the situation. Natty got out of it, and then she hit the sharpshooter. She got the sharpshooter on her. So it was like, I'm like, yo, if this girl taps in her hometown, I'm gonna be pissed. But that wasn't the case. So it picked up. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just the chemistry between them. It's just one of those. Sometimes it's not hard hitting. It's just
tell a story.
Technical. My issue with this is again, like, it was a perfectly good match that was ruined. And I understand you're trying to build a story for this fatal four-way, which is officially have been announced.
Right.
But it's just like, for what? We're going to keep seeing Tamina and Nia interfere. Like, if anything, have them attack them backstage. You feel me? Like,
I guess they don't like doing stuff backstage anymore.
Unless
you're Braun.
It's just like, I don't. You keep telling the same story, and it just doesn't make sense.
And I read this is like Sasha just volunteered to take on all three of them.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that as a champion? Like.
No, I mean, but if people keep coming at you, well, you know what? I'm a champion. I don't back down. I'm gonna fake.
I guess
it's like an open.
To me,
challenge.
I just don't like it because then they put the person in danger. Like, no, I don't want them to lose the title. Now you got them against three people.
I don't think, and we'll discuss it later. I don't think they're gonna lose the title at WrestleMania. To be perfectly honest, I'm kind of over this. It was cool when they won. It was like the first time ever women tag team champions, but it's just like you're putting single competitors together, and it's just like, okay, what happens next after this? What's the story that's being told? And I guess you didn't put this for SmackDown, but so I'll bring it over here. The Iconics did just a little promo backstage or whatever, you know, when they do the whatever, and it's like, okay, so then why wasn't Sasha and Bayley at SmackDown?
And
like, I understand they're Raw superstars, but they're defending this title amongst both brands.
All three brands,
excuse me. But ultimately, right now for WrestleMania, this is the main roster. So it's just like, what are we doing?
WWE doesn't care about SmackDown women's division.
And we'll get into that. But at this point, I don't think they care about the women's division like they say they do. But
that's what I'm saying.
We'll talk about it.
And I just want to add one more thing. Did you see how I didn't put this in Hot Topics that the Bella twins officially retired on Total Bellas this past week?
Yes.
On their podcast this week that just premiered. Now they're talking about coming back so they could challenge for the tag team titles because they feel like they're the only tag team that ever really.
Well, you know what, and I figured I'm not like, I get it because ultimately Total Bellas is. They record like Total Bellas and Total like a few months, right?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah, so, and I get it. This is what I was pitching. Like, honestly, I would like them more at this point than Natty and Beth Phoenix. It has nothing to do with Beth Phoenix. I'm glad she's back and she looks great, but I don't know. It
doesn't hit for you.
It doesn't hit for me.
I got you. McIntyre defeated Ambrose. I saw that one.
And what did you think?
It was a decent match. I just feel like, again, this is like Ambrose continuing to lose. Is it because, WWE want to make sure they decline his worth?
Yeah.
Or is this part of a storyline kind of situation?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to revenge for Reigns and Rollins and keeps challenging McIntyre to catch L's.
I mean, yeah, and then at this point, we don't know. Dean is not essentially doing anything for WrestleMania.
No.
Right? Unless you put him in a battle royal, but it's just like... It was cool. I like the build. I'm on the fence just because I would like Dean to stay, and then they fix whatever's going on with the character. But I don't know at this point.
Right.
I like that Drew is being booked strong.
Yes, of course. I'm all for that.
I'm all for it because, again, how he had this moment where he was hot and then he wasn't, and now I like that you keep building him up against Seth, against Dean, against Roman, and potentially if Seth wins the Universal title, you have a legitimate. Contender for that title. So I like it. I like that he's just booked really, really strong right now. It doesn't seem forced. It doesn't seem like him again.
Right.
Like that.
It's somebody fresh.
Exactly.
So what did you give Raw?
I gave it a D-. It wasn't a good show. It wasn't like, it's the same old, and I'll talk about it a little bit more for SmackDown, but
yeah,
there's no direction. The whole thing with Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky
it's a mess.
It's a mess, you know?
Yeah, I give it an NR because I didn't really watch it. And the audience gave it a B.
I tell you, every week, y'all generous.
Y'all generous. Like, I just read it and I was like, what? Okay. I don't know. Anyway, on to my show.
SmackDown.
So they had to do this, right?
Yeah.
They had to do this. Do you know how okay. Seeing Asuka versus Charlotte for that title again, I'm like, all right, cool.
It was a good match.
It was a good match. I'm sitting there watching it, and then to see Asuka tap out again to Charlotte just brought me right back to my feelings at WrestleMania.
I mean, my first reaction, what was your reaction? Like, was it like, are you kidding? Like, what was your reaction?
I can't say it on the show.
Okay.
I said it out loud, and the person in the room, when he was looking at me like, what happened? I'm like, you don't watch wrestling. You don't get it.
Who was the person in the room?
Why you have my business on the street?
So, anyway, my reaction was that I started laughing. I legit busted out laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing.
I was tight. I'm like, yo, y'all don't respect Asuka. This is making me mad.
There's so many things, and I don't know if I want to really dig deep into that sense, or we'll discuss it for hot topics. But like the tweet that I also said was, shout out to the women competitors that busted their ass for however couple of years just to have Charlotte shine, and it has nothing to do with making Smarks mad or whatever. But enough is enough.
8 times in 3 years. 8 times in 3 years. That's almost like 90% of her career on the main roster. She's in the title picture.
How long it took Trish to be like? You get what I'm saying? It's just like enough is enough.
And again, at the expense of Asuka. And Asuka tweeted over. Like, you don't even know how to interpret that. It's like,
well, I mean, listen, this yesterday on WWE's Instagram, they did a screenshot of that and made a caption. So ultimately, we don't know what the bigger picture is, but people always say that, like, oh, well, you don't know what they're building up to, blah blah blah. Fans get all out of whack about stuff, but it's like, no, we know WWE's track history. It's the same thing over and over, where something big is gonna happen, and then come to find out it's the same old.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that them putting on Instagram was them trying to do damage control.
I don't know, but I
wouldn't be surprised.
And then you didn't even see Lacey Evans. Like, she was supposedly supposed to go against Asuka for the title, right?
Right.
Supposedly, she wasn't even on Raw or SmackDown. So it's like, you guys, like, I don't know how they're so they have like tunnel vision. Like, they can't focus on one thing and focus on something else and something else. Like, what do you get paid to do?
And on top of that, you canceled out a match that was supposed to be the number one contender kind of match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. You swiped that out, and apparently, with no explanation to give to Charlotte.
And apparently, there isn't even a women's battle royal, I heard, this year. So now what do you? So Carmella, Naomi, and all the other girls don't have anything to do.
And I have on the hot topics why supposedly they went this route with Charlotte.
Okay.
So we'll touch on that a little bit later. What do you think about the Shane McMahon and Miz segment?
I don't care. I don't. I really don't. It does nothing for me. Like I said, this card that's shaping out for Mania I'm not excited. I'm not excited about, and I'm pretty sure once you're there, and then the feeling of like, this is WrestleMania. You're here. It's in your hometown, right? And it's just like, I'll be excited then. But at this particular moment, like, I don't care. I really don't.
And you're gonna be there, right?
Yeah. I haven't got my ticket yet, but I'll be there. I'll be there.
All right. Tell me how it is. I'll be at home watching it from the comfort of my home with my friends and family.
Listen, I mean, if it's in my hometown or like my neck of the woods, gotta go.
Sometimes it's just not worth it, in my opinion. Sitting there for 7 hours just to be disappointed the entire time.
I mean, we don't know. Like I said.
Yeah, because Evolution was,
right. It's just always that thing with WWE. You just never know. You might have a good time. Some matches might surprise you. We just don't know. And again, it's in your hometown, But that's just me.
New Day, KofiMania.
Well, what did you think? You didn't tell me what you think.
I don't like that. To me, I didn't like the idea of them having Sanity out there to get beat up by The Miz. They haven't been on TV in how long, and then randomly they just there to back up Shane. Yeah. And then get beat by Miz. And
then Shane has always been the type of heel where he's like a punk, right?
Right.
So, and ultimately this was kind of like a punk move with bodyguards and this and that and third, but it was weird. Like, you need all these bodyguards to protect you from the Miz. No shade to the Miz, but he's not that type of wrestler to be like, damn, I'm scared of him.
And he took forever to get through the security guards alone.
So it's just like, whatever. I know Shane always has to have like that big, match at WrestleMania or whatever. And
does he have to though?
That's the case. Anyway, but the main event,
KofiMania, New Day got their gauntlet match to get Kofi in there.
So see, I ultimately said this last week that Kofi had to face New Day to get to the promised land, but
they took a little bit of your plan.
Exactly, which. Because it's like, how do you leave New Day out of this, right? Type thing. I mean, they weren't left out because they've been, in his corner and advocates for him. But it's just
get them involved.
You had to get them involved some way, somehow, and I thought that was pretty cool.
I did too. The only thing I didn't like, of course, you already know where I'm going with this. Good Brothers lasting 2 minutes. Like, to me, it was just like a waste. Like, again, you don't see them for how many long, and then the moment they get on TV,
they need tag teams,
and it's 2 minutes. Like. Still, you had enough time because all that time they had with the Bar, or that time they had with Rusev and Nakamura, who's not even a real tag team.
And that pisses me off to no end.
And that's the thing, the Good Brothers, Nakamura and Rusev. Why do you have to send them out there to take L's? Why?
For that matter, bring out Sanity. Why was Sanity used?
Yeah.
But shout out to the Usos. Yeah. That was pretty dope.
That was a good moment. That was a very good moment.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
And now we got.
There definitely should be some retaliation from Vince next week in regards to the Usos because again, we don't know who the Usos are facing at WrestleMania.
That's two tag team
champions that have titles, but we don't know exactly what they're doing.
No plan whatsoever.
I know you don't have it here. Are you done? Are we done talking about this?
I just wanted to point out another thing. Did you notice how the Good Brothers didn't throw up the 2 Sweet?
No, I didn't notice it.
They didn't do it. And I feel like it's one of those things where like, all right, we're not adding any more voucher. Like, it's weird. It felt weird watching that.
You didn't have one here in regards to the Kurt Angle farewell tour. I'm just like, really? With AJ Styles? Like, I understand, like, I don't know, it might have been a hard match to watch, but damn, like.
Give it a chance.
Give it a chance, and then, like, what is it that you want? Are you going to have him do his farewell tour? Or are you going to book this feud between AJ and Randy? Because that promo they had, what was it, not last week or a couple of weeks ago? I don't remember.
I think it was last week.
Was pretty hot, but now it's just like.
Like, you could have had Randy come out at the end of the match.
Exactly.
And RKO both of them, if anything.
Exactly.
Like, this is, like, I don't know why. You know what I've realized? I care about Kurt Angle. And I never realized that I like Kurt Angle this much.
I mean, when you look back, and again, we're going to post the promo for the old WrestleMania. Like, he was an intricate part of, like, the Attitude Era, just being that heel that you really hated and just...
Aggression Era.
No, WrestleMania. I mean, not WrestleMania, the Attitude Era. That's when he showed up. And then you had your heavy hitters like Stone Cold, The Rock, him, Triple H.
Because you know what it is? I always think about the Attitude Era ending at WrestleMania when Stone Cold pinned Shawn. That was like the new era started from there. That's how I always looked at it. I don't know why.
That's not. It actually started. It started there, not ended there. But regardless, and into the ruthless aggression era, like, you know, just to see what he's come to now it is disheartening, to be honest with you.
Like, no, but I'm saying, like, in terms of, like, I'm appreciating watching him go. Like, I wish more wrestlers would go out this way, to be honest. Do a farewell tour, have matches with some of the people that they had some of the best feuds with that we didn't get a chance to see, or we did get the chance to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's like it's something that needs to happen a little bit more in the wrestling community, like having a chance to say bye.
Yeah. How did you rate SmackDown?
You said you wanted to bring up something else before we moved on.
That was that.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I gave SmackDown a B. I enjoyed it for the most part outside of the start of it.
Gave it a C-. Like, the Gauntlet match was cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I think but again, going back to the whole Boston Hug not showing up for you have a tag team match for the Iconics. Then you have like no women showed up except for in the beginning. Then you see Becky in the ending of the show. Like that's not her character. Yes, she's a face, but she's not like that. Like rooting. All them on, like, she's the man. Like, the man is, like, cool, chill. Like,
not only that, you had Oscar cheering on. Like, she didn't leave. She just lost her title.
Didn't lose. Like, and then just to see Naomi and then Nikki Cross, like, all these people that you just really not doing anything with. Like, I understand you needed a cheering section, but it was dumb. The match between Charlotte and Oscar was dope. It was really, really good. Yeah. But again, it was just like, for what?
So now we have 2 titles in the main event of WrestleMania.
The Miz and Shane, I'm not interested in. Like, for me, like, SmackDown felt like a Raw show to me. Like, just not, there wasn't much direction.
Yeah.
So that's why I gave it a C-, and the audience rated it
an A.
An A.
205 Live, only Larkin has joined 205 Live apparently. So I wonder if he's still in his tag team with the Britt Am.
I don't know, but he didn't come up with him, so I don't know.
That's just weird to me. Over at NXT UK, Viper has officially joined NXT UK. I don't know if you remember Viper. She was previously on the Mae Young Classic 1, and she did very, very well, and the crowd really liked her. And she could really move in the ring. So I'm very excited about that signing. I can't wait to see her in the ring. She possibly going to have a thing with Rhea Ripley. In terms of an NXT, the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Classics are Ricochet and Aleister Black. And they will face War Raiders at TakeOver New York. I don't like this.
Why? Because 2 single competitors as a tag team?
And they beat tag teams. And then 2, they're on the main roster now, so they're definitely not going to win NXT TakeOver in New York. Yeah. You could have easily have left Forgotten Sons to win, get that rub, and have them go to the NXT New York.
Or it's, again, situations one turns on the other. But then if you plan on having this match for Mania against a Revival, then that won't work out. So,
and another thing about Dusty Rhodes Classics, it happened 3 years in a row, right? 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
This is the second time 2 single competitors won it.
With Finn and Joe. winning. Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I love my tag teams. Like, stop doing this to them.
Yeah.
It was a fire match, though. It was a
good match. Hot topics.
JoJo has officially announced via her Instagram that her and Bray Wyatt are expecting their first child together, and it's a boy. So shout out to them.
Nash?
Yeah, Nash with a K.
Yeah. Congratulations to them.
Yeah. Sting is thinking about coming out of retirement. While doing Comic-Con in Liverpool, a fan asked Sting will he be coming out of retirement. He said the only way he would do it if his match is against Undertaker. I don't think I want to see that.
I don't want to see that either. I don't. That ship has sailed a long time ago.
Definitely did. Rhea Ripley is currently sidelined with an injury. She posted a picture of her on Instagram, and she was wearing a boot on her foot. Mm-hmm. She's not expected to miss out much time. They say it might be like a minor sprain or something.
Okay.
Also, Becky Lynch, the man, is rumored to be the merchandise seller, leading merchandise seller at this time.
Seller?
Yep. At this time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
None at all.
I would not be surprised. She's killing it. I think her momentum has died out tremendously, but
because of this feud.
Because of the feud, not so much because of her, but because of the feud.
Right.
But I definitely see that.
Speaking of Becky, I've seen this when we was getting ready for the show. So they're trying to. So Dave Meltzer is trying to compare Becky Lynch to Roman Reigns.
What? What?
He's talking about if you see how she's been booked this past year, her house shows against Charlotte, blah 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 blah.
What? Yo, I mean, Dave Meltzer has been saying a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, he's about to get like fired from the wrestling community very soon.
Like he's been saying a lot of crazy stuff. So how the heck you think Charlotte Flair's been booked? Exactly. And the crazy thing, and I had this conversation with my friend Josh, like, you can't call, and I said this on Twitter, you can't call Charlotte Roman Reigns. Because ultimately, yes, I understand booking sense. He's always main eventing and what have you. How many titles he has? Like, heavyweight titles. She has 8.
Not counting NXT.
Now they're not counting NXT
because they don't need it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't keep doing that. Like, what's the point? Listen, we'll get into that. But
NXT.
Becky's been the same person that she was the last 4 horsewomen talked about. Now when she finally took advantage,
the only 4 horsewomen that didn't win the NXT title
took her opportunity and ran with it. Now, how you think she's supposed to be booked?
It's only been 6 months, and she's been up there for 3 years.
It's only been 6 months, and it doesn't feel like it's like,
it's been 6
Becky.
months.
Like, you know what I mean? The feud, okay, but Becky,
she's it right now. And I see some people already trying to stray away from her. I hate those flippy floppy people. Like,
what do you mean, fans?
Yeah, like, oh, now she's getting too much attention, blah blah blah. Yo, she's the hottest thing right now.
I don't understand what people want. If you're hot, you're hot. You want like
you can't please everybody.
Yeah,
you can't please everybody. NXT wrestler Ricardo Miller has requested his release from the WWE. That's the second person in the past couple of days who's done so.
So you gonna take that out?
Yeah. And the world of AEW, Young Bucks announced during C2E2 that they would be defending their AAA tag team titles versus the Lucha Bros at Double or Nothing May 25th in Las Vegas. The event is already $100,000 over the budget.
Nice.
When you got pockets deep as the Cons, why not, right?
So they you only go for high from there, especially when you start doing, bigger
fireworks. That's what it is. It's those fireworks.
You need pyro, man.
Kenny and Young Bucks revealed that All In 2 will be taking place in Chicago at Sears Centers again. The Sears Center has placed a plaque with the faces of the Young Bucks and Cody on the building of the entrance.
Good for them.
So shout out to them. A little indie news on Nick Manic McCoon. I hope I'm saying this right. Helped bring a man wielding a knife at Denny's into custody. So apparently he was wilding out inside the Denny's and threatening a customer. He went over to try to calm him down and then eventually helped the police handcuff him because the police was having problems handcuffing the guy. So I just wanted to bring out some positive news out of the Indies with that.
Good.
Here's an interesting thing. The Revival posed with a fan wearing an AEW shirt at a WWE live event.
Do what you want. Do what you want. Like, why can't you pose with a fan that has another, you know what I mean?
Especially when they got you losing on TV every other week or every week at this point.
Gotta please your fans.
IWGP Heavyweight Championship match is set for G1 Supercard. Top guys out. IWGP Heavyweight Championship match is set for G1 Supercard. Okada defeated Sonata at New Japan Cup to earn the one contender. He will face Jay White at the G1, which kind of sucked. Me and G was talking about it. Was hoping Sonata would beat Okada because now it's like, okay, Okada, like, get out the picture. Let somebody else. Sonata went to the finals last year and lost too. So it's like, come on. Let's move this on along.
Yeah.
You want to take this one?
The Hart Foundation will be inducted into this year's Hall of Fame. So this is what, the third faction tag team that's been inducted this year?
Yep. Seems like this the faction year.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no reference in regards to the British Bulldog.
Nope.
Owen Hart or Brian Pillman. There they go. Half-assing stuff.
I looked at that too. I was like, "Are you serious?" I get Owen Hart. I get it.
We get Owen Hart. Yeah.
You're not allowed to touch the name.
Yeah. That's not necessarily their fault.
No, it's not your fault. We get that. But Brian Pillman and British Bulldog, why not?
Yeah.
That was the Hart Foundation. I get it. It started off with them too, but them going against the Nation of Domination was a big part of the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't get it. And I hope Jimmy Hart is going to be there with them because if that's the case, it can't just be them two. Well, Brett in this case.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Obviously, we hope they mention them because legit, the only person that's alive from the foundation, and not to, I mean to laugh, but it's legit just Bret Hart.
Right.
So I'm hoping Like, you can't sit there and have, like, a whole video package of the...
Just those two.
Of the Hart Foundation and just, like, there's too many things that happen with all those guys that you can't... You have to mention them. So, we'll see.
Especially that match between Bridget Bulldog and Bret Hart.
Yes. And you know, my impression of Bret Hart is always kind of like he wants it his way. So, I think you definitely will hear something in regards to his brother and everybody else.
You should read his book. I got to give you that, too. I think I have it on my laptop somewhere. I got all these books on my laptop.
WWE has changed the name of Mustafa Ali to just Ali. What? I saw that. I was like,
why?
Like, Mustafa Ali was perfect. And then the meaning behind it, I forgot what.
It's right there.
Okay, it means the chosen one. Like, what are we doing? Like, not everyone's name has to be changed. Ali.
Alistair's next.
He's gonna be called just Alistair.
We're black.
How do you think it's next?
Yo, because they doing it to everybody. Who has two names anymore, really?
Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair.
They better be careful. That's because they probably making enough money off their merchandise already. Like, let's not change these. But these guys.
Yeah.
Alexander Rusev. No, it wasn't Alexander Rusev. Who was it?
Yeah.
It was Alexander Rusev. And it was Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah.
Apollo Crews.
Well, Antonio Cesaro. Cesaro was a good move to make him. But no, apparently now he's Apollo Crews again.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he's Apollo Crews again. Anyway, whatever. Becky Lynch continues to be the man. WWE has offered her a new multi-year deal with a pay boost. She's expected to sign the contract soon.
Shout out to Becky, man. Earning your coins.
Well deserved.
Earning your coins.
Well deserved.
Hall of Fame spoiler, New York radio station Z100 listed Brutus the Barber Beefcake
Z100
amongst the inductees. They don't even do that anymore, do they?
I don't know. I haven't listened to Z100.
No official announcement has been made yet at this current time, but there's rumors that Hulk Hogan will be bringing him in. They're trying to ease him in slowly but surely back into the WWE fold. They're not low.
Showbuzz Daily reports WWE Raw viewership declined 2 weeks before Mania. Smackdown ratings was raised. Raw's episode was the fifth lowest viewership number of 2019 for the company. Smackdown jumped to the highest point since late last year. It is ranked number 2 amongst cable originals for the night. Shout out to Smackdown.
And poor Raw. Continue to decline.
Ain't no poor Raw. You did it to yourself. Like, it'd be one thing at least if you were putting on good entertainment, good show, and you're not.
What do you think made the SmackDown ratings go up? You think it was the New Day? With the Kofi thing going on right now?
I believe so. I believe people were really invested into this. It was a feel-good story, just like, damn. You can relate to, like, why do you keep bringing this man down?
Yeah.
You know?
B+. Same thing they used to call Daniel Bryan.
The irony, right?
I thought he was going to shut SmackDown down like they did with Daniel Bryan. Like, yo.
It's crazy because, again, it just goes back down. Vince is out every week on SmackDown, invested into this feud, but he is nowhere to be found with Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't want no parts of that. How many times have you really seen Ronda and Vince in the ring together?
Which is so stupid. It is so stupid. But anyway, go ahead.
A SmackDown Women's title change happened last minute. According to Dave Meltzer, the decision for Charlotte to win the title was done, again, at last minute. He speculated the reason the title change happened was to cut down on matches at WrestleMania. It is predicted to have 17 matches at WrestleMania this year. It's unlikely that Asuka will be added to the match.
So
you basically just decided to cut out a match by giving the title to Charlotte.
So the irony of all this is people, and I guess we can kind of just talk about the next topic and bring it all together, right?
Yeah.
The Raw Women's match to main event. Well, Raw's Women's match was announced that it would main event WrestleMania 35. Obviously, we know who's going to be participating in.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh, this is a win for women's wrestling and how far they come.
Nah.
And you know, it came down to the wire, apparently, that it was a hard decision to go with either them or Lenzer and Rollins, but they decided to go with the women.
And I'm baffled why Kofi and Daniel Bryan was even considered.
The only reason why I believe that Kofi and Daniel wasn't considered just because this whole thing came about instantly, right? Whereas everything else was kind of like already set in stone.
But how much would the work would it be to be like, oh, okay, there
I
you
understand.
go.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, especially if they decide not to go with Kofi winning,
right?
People would be really pissed. So that's my only thing. Don't get me wrong. I would have been here for it too. But my thing is, I have a problem when people say that this is a big win for women's wrestling.
So this also goes into the big question, I guess.
To all of it. So
do you think how do you think? Sorry. Do you think the handling of the WrestleMania main event was done properly?
So my thing is, when you say this is a big win for women's wrestling, just the second to last topic was apparently the reason that this was cut was because of so many matches. So now you're telling me so the SmackDown women don't have a role in this year's WrestleMania, essentially, is what you're saying.
Right.
And the irony of it is a few years ago, when they were at MetLife, their match got cut.
Right.
So when people like, oh, this is a big win for women's wrestling, no, don't insult my intelligence like that, because one, what you're telling me in regards to making this match the main event is that no matter how much you bust your ass, whoever has like the connection or is privileged will still,
or more money invested into,
will be the one that gets the shine. One, two, someone who hasn't been in wrestling. Granted, yes, she's a fan, whatever the case is, she's a big name star. I understand. I'm not knocking Ronda for that. But you're telling me that Ronda Rousey, who wasn't here when the women were fighting for like TV time and then killing it in NXT, got called up, you know what I mean, and putting on classic matches. So you're telling me you bring her in and she gets the main event? Because this was planned before. Right. It wasn't like, you know what, let's put Ronda. No, you knew from way back then that she was going to main event
the next year's WrestleMania.
Right? So what you're telling me as a woman, yeah, no matter how much I worked hard and busted my ass to get to where I'm at or make change,
right?
Just because I don't have the last name or the quote-unquote the prestige or whatever the case might be, you get a pat on the back, like, good job, thanks for helping us out, but this is not.
We'll take it from here.
We'll take it from here.
We'll take it from here.
That's what you're telling me by making this the main event. If you even if you told me Becky and Charlotte was gonna main event, because that was a good story. That was a story that came out of nowhere, right?
Right.
And they killed it.
Right.
If you told me it was Ronda and Becky, fine, because again, it came out of nowhere, the momentum.
Right.
But you already knew that Charlotte and Ronda was going to be in this match. And then for what? Why does she have the title? Apparently, people are saying that they're going to unify the titles and possibly make the women fight on both brands. Or
that's not working for you now with the tag team title, so why would you do that with the main title?
And then the other theory is apparently that the 4 horsewomen are going to stand top at the end of WrestleMania with all the titles.
Becky lose the title in the first place? You could have had that. Like, I planned it for you guys already.
Like I said, I'm all about women wrestling, women empowerment, but I think it's condescending and you're patronizing us in the sense of like, yeah, women, you did it, you did this, and then to say that this came down to the last minute, like, oh, it was still a hard decision. If the women were really like, you get what I'm saying, like they did all of this and they're in the forefront, why was it a hard decision?
Right.
Like, I think it's all BS, to be perfectly honest with you.
And I completely agree with you on that standpoint. Like, the handling of this main event, to me, has always been, I always feel like the main event of WrestleMania should be what's hot at that moment, right? What's everybody so anticipated to see, because that's what people are going to be more invested to when we get there.
Right.
It's already going to be a long show.
Right.
So when the one that we invested in this case, Kofi versus Daniel Bryan, goes down, and we put all our emotions into that, what do you think we're going to have left over for the other 2 matches? Or whatever, how many matches you got after that?
Yeah.
And then 2, like you said, is the build-up. Like, this was already planned. And you wanted it to be done this way. So now it doesn't even feel organic. So now you're saying, like, this is a big step for the women's division. And, like, you know, I'm a big supporter. I want the women's to do great. But this doesn't feel – I don't want to take nothing away from Charlotte or Becky or whatever. But this doesn't feel like an earned spot. This is feel like this was already.
For Becky, it does. For Becky,
right?
It does.
Becky. Yes, she earned it. She deserved to be in that spot. But that match, that match in general, it just felt like a placement. Like, yo, just put this there so we can say we did it. It's not because, like, you know, they earned it and, you know, they carry this hard body. It's been dope. Has everybody on the edge of the seats. They just put it there just to say we did it. Make headlines. Send it to ESPN.
And the thing again about, like, with Charlotte, like. We say this all the time on this show. Like, yo, we get it. She's gifted. She is gifted athletically. You know, she brought out the Spanish Fly move against Asuka.
I heard that. I was like, what? Like, I seen her, like.
Yeah, I mean, she did it. You know, like, she's very capable of putting on great matches. You know what I mean? But come on, you telling me back when they were on the main roster. In 2016, I had to watch Sasha get fed to her
over and
over, just so you can build up her pay-per-view streak, or the fact that
winning titles,
winning all these titles, and what have you,
dad.
And all this. And then when you see at that time when Sasha was killing it with merch sales or chance for her and what have you, but you, regardless of that, you ignored that fact. Just
took her off TV.
Took her off TV. You did all of that to build up Charlotte, right? And it was the same thing with Becky. Becky was always in the back seat, right?
Even as SmackDown champion, she was like on SmackDown killing it, and nobody cared.
You know, and then it goes down to Asuka, right? Like, and here's the thing, like it's an honor for them to be like, yo, the first ever, right? Like, Asuka was the first ever Royal Rumble women's Royal Rumble winner, right?
Right.
But first ever doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Because that's a classic example as to why, yeah, you can be first ever, whatever. But if what happens afterwards? Because she won, what happened? She lost. Her streak was ended, right? And after that, she was essentially wasted in regards to into tag teams and this and that and third. And then finally had a dope match at TLC. Got the title and did absolutely nothing.
Just held it for 2 months just to give it back to Charlotte. So yeah, I mean, you know, shout out to them for, you know, and I'm pretty sure they will kill it, but, you know, you're going to be the first ever, you better damn sure make it mean something. And again, going back to the debate, and if it's done properly, we bring back the whole Stone Cold versus The Rock. And how that video package got everybody ready. And knowing the history of that happening. Like, that was built organically for it. And I'm mistaken, Stone Cold's last match, right?
No,
that wasn't
it. It was the second match between them.
Like, it was just like, it was still built as a storyline that was built for it. And it main event because it made sense. This doesn't make sense. And you had a year to do it. If you really wanted to do this, you had a year to do it right. And you didn't do it right.
And it just, again, and if you listen or watch the show, I'm not going to go over again how this doesn't make sense, but where's the continuation of this story? Like, okay, Ronda's now a heel, okay? What is she, like, let her do what she's supposed to do, right? She came from UFC, her MMA background. Let her beat people up. Like, okay, Becky won or whatever, the beat the clock challenge or whatever. Everyone got out of the ring. Becky celebrating. Ronda should have came in and whooped her ass.
Yeah, took her out.
Took her out.
So the A word is your word for this day, huh?
It's set on PG, so it's okay. Charlotte's just like is there, whatever, and it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
That's it.
You made ish. What should have happened was essentially Becky should have been Kofi. Like, so many obstacles in her path to get to this point. Like, damn, I won the Royal Rumble and I still got to fight and scratch my way to this match.
They don't even say anymore that she's the Royal Rumble winner. If you realize when they announce her. Like, it's just forgotten.
Now, Stephanie's not involved in this match. Like,
nothing.
Vince is not involved, and Triple H is doing his own thing with Batista. But it's
fine.
just like
I don't.
And again, it just goes back down. I feel for the women that work in WWE.
And you seen them tweet about it throughout the entire couple of days of how Asuka was treated. A lot of people voice how Asuka is treated. Even Nia Jax said something.
Gail Kim.
Like, oh, don't get us started with Gail Kim. Gail Kim is always watching in the shadows.
Yeah,
she ain't beat for this.
She said what she had to say.
But like from that, and then the hashtag that started, give SmackDown Women's Division a chance. Like, and they tried to bury that because nobody mentioned it. But that happened.
And the crazy thing is, like, I always wonder when like you see wrestlers tweet, is it like their actual personal feelings, or it's just part of storyline?
Right.
Because Nia is cool with Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
Becky is Charlotte's best friend. Sorry, broke kayfabe, but that's right. But that's her best friend, right? But she was tweeting whatever in regards to Asuka,
right?
And keep it 100, like Charlotte
probably feels the same way.
She said, you saw her caption, right? And I was like, when she said, "Oh, the best in-ring competitor I ever faced," I was like, "All right, girl, relax." You didn't see what she like. I'm like, "All right, let's relax. That's debatable, but
I mean,
it's debatable.
Everybody's opinions.
That's true, but you can't say that one. Whatever. That's another topic for another day. I'm being a mark, but
when you have the entire locker room voiced out for Asuka as a writer, as a creator, as Vince McMahon, you gotta look at this like, all right, maybe we gotta fix this because they already screwed up Nakamura. They already screwed up Sanity. Like, we could go down a list of people that they screw up, and I get it. Not everybody could be at the top. But there's certain people that, when they left NXT, they had a momentum. As soon as they hit main roster, momentum is gone.
And I can't understand you having $1 billion company that you stunt people's worth. I can never get that concept. Like you said, not everyone's gonna have the chance at the top spot at the particular moment, but it's a rotation. That's what they did back in the day. It was a rotation. This person had the title and looked really, really strong, and they would knock down this and that and third, and you knew who the top people were. Ultimately, you knew who it was, but it still didn't seem like, damn, Stone Cold's always at the top. The Rock is always at the top. You know what I mean? They had viable candidates to be booked just as strong and seem like they could take them.
Where's CN? I just thought about that. Where's Almas?
I don't know who that is.
Where's Andrade?
I don't know.
He was in there last week and he was in there this week, right?
I don't remember him on last week, to be honest with you.
Like, and that was somebody that was supposed to be one of Vince's favorite. What happened to Andrade?
At this particular moment, you got to take all that with a grain of salt. Like, when you hear, like, dirt sheets and be like, oh, that someone is his favorite or whatever. You said the same thing with, like, he was high on Leo Rush. Yeah, he's always, there, but he's still just Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece.
Yeah. And he's awesome in the ring. He shows you a glimpse of that.
I don't know, but with all that said, I'm just very disappointed how they treated the women. And again, it just goes back down to, don't insult my intelligence. Don't be like, yeah, congratulations to the women, you did this, you did that, but you're sitting here. You want to have a battle royal with two SNL Saturday Night Live actors. Oh, you didn't watch Raw. Braun Strowman, there was a segment or whatever with the dudes from Saturday Night Live, and ultimately they're gonna be in the battle royal. So the women got scratched for this. For what? And like, I never understood the comedy acts of bringing like special guests. For what? It's not entertaining.
And you know who else I think they're gonna have to bring in? They might bring in is Gronk.
I don't know, but it's really unfortunate that you, going back to the discussion at hand, that these women busted their ass for the past few years, but ultimately let's have Charlotte Flair shine.
I truly believe Charlotte is tired of it too.
She may be tired of it. She may. I don't know. Like, again, this is not a knock on Ashley Flair, however you say it.
Flair.
Her real last name, but it's just like
the character. Same thing with the Roman Reigns. The character.
You know, it's not fair. It does not make this competitive.
Did you see what they did with her on ESPN?
Yeah, I peeped. That's what everyone saw.
Ric
Flair's daughter. Like, keep it 100.
She didn't like that.
Ric Flair's daughter. That's what it is. Anyone that says otherwise is blind. I mean, it's because that's who she is. Ric Flair's daughter.
They could have put 7-time women's champion.
They could have, but let's keep it 100. Shout out to ESPN for being real. Because and then her promo talking about the past 7 years, this and that and the third, whatever. I'm like, yo, the past 7 years, like, I understand you, but like, when you were on NXT, like, ultimately your NXT run wasn't that memorable. Like, keep it 100. Like, her NXT run wasn't that memorable.
No, it's really it's a collective idea of the 4 horsewomen. Like,
her, even when she got onto the main roster, once the title got unified, from the Divas to the women's Raw Women's Championship, then that's when you were like, oh, okay, this is how we book in Charlotte. But before that, like, and then the thing is, you pushing someone that doesn't sell merch, you know, popularity-wise is not like the others. Yeah, so what is it that, and I'm going to end this up, or at least for me, we had this conversation, one of the topics, our question of the night, if we believe them in regards to things changing. I remember you said you did. I said, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I take my words back. I legit wanted to
give them the benefit of the doubt. No, because look, and we saw it what?
For a couple of weeks.
We saw it with Ronda challenging Sasha, Finn challenging Brock, and then Becky winning the Royal Rumble,
and then Finn getting
and Seth winning the Royal Rumble,
and Bobby Lashley getting his moments, and
like, all right, we're gonna give it to you just so to keep y'all quiet, and the whole AEW thing was
around the question.
AEW is coming around, like, it was hot at that particular moment, so let's give them what they want. But ultimately, we have our own agenda.
Yep. So it's WrestleMania season. Time to take all that away, guys. We got some plans already in motion. This is what you guys.
And then what do you do afterwards? Let's say if the rumor is true that because they're unifying the titles, what happens to the women's division? As it is, you have the same people that are fighting for the title, right? So now you have one, and it's just a matter of time when they finally say, you know what, we gonna push someone like Lacey Evans or Alexa Bliss finally gets back into the picture. Like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Alexa. Something's going on with Alexa. That they don't tell us.
Apparently she's been wrestling in live events, so I don't think there's anything wrong. They just don't have anything for her.
That's a first.
Well, because it's
too busy. It's too busy.
It's too busy right now. The pattern is, let's focus on Charlotte. After Charlotte, let's focus on Bliss, and then it's gonna be focused on
back and forth.
Lacey Evans. And again, when I look at that main event poster, I'm like, yo, I don't look like any of those 3 women. But yeah, we're doing this for it's change.
I swear, they better not treat my Shayna Baszler this way.
I think she'll be booked good. She's a legitimate heel. I can see her being booked pretty well, but
I don't feel good about the other 2. Kairi Sane and Io Shirai.
I don't feel good about them. I don't feel good about the other 4 horsewomen. I don't know how this story is going to pan out anymore.
Bianca Belair.
I'm tired. Definitely, I don't know about Bianca. I'm tired of seeing, and this is what I forgot to say in regards to Boss and Hug. As cute as
I'm about to say the same thing.
As cute as Sasha and Bayley is,
I miss the Boss.
She is like, her character gets lost into this.
So we're gonna have to watch her coming out to WrestleMania to Bayley's music,
right? For like, and that, you know, the ramp is long. Oh my god! So you gonna hear that music for a split second.
Whatever Bayley.
And it's just gonna come down. Yeah, I mean, her character gets lost in Boston Hug. You saw when as soon as she got the call against Ronda, how we saw the legit boss.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
okay, back to
happy go lucky.
I don't like this.
So I don't know. The women's division, there was high hopes, and now it just seems like
they was carrying it. They was carrying it for a while, And then now it's just like,
And they will carry when you give them time, when you give them the right storyline. All of this, like, let's put everyone in one title picture and then everyone in the tag team division. Like, I don't know. It's like when people in NXT, just in general, like, yo, do I really want to get called up? Because
are you going to NXT?
I'm going to everything.
You you're not going. You going to the Hall of Fame then? No,
that I'm not going to.
You going to G1?
Maybe if I have someone to go with.
I could go now. The baby shower got canceled.
Wow.
So I'll be going to G1. I know that's for a fact.
We're going to Wrestlemania.
Yes, we are. I saw the email. Shout out to the people over at Wrestlemania. They have, I guess we can announce it. They have given us press passes for Wrestlemania. So we'll be working the red carpet. I don't know how we're supposed to dress. I get an outfit together now.
Okay.
I get a haircut.
Okay.
Because we're going to be on camera. You got to look nice.
We're live from Wrestlemania.
Yeah. I'm serious. My look on what?
Well, I don't ever look crazy. That's you got to worry about. Me, I'll be fine.
What you talking about? I'll be looking crazy. I don't be looking crazy. Look, see, you dropped your phone because you lied.
Well, you're a Pisces, so that's what you do for a living. On that note, that is the Mixed Tag Show, episode 53.
Holmes.
My name is Jenna, a.k.a. Miss Jenna Baby, B-A-Y-B-E-E.
And
we are a couple of weeks away from Wrestlemania.
And I'm Azul.
At
Blue Magic Grind, Spell How to Sound. You can go ahead at Miss Jenna Baby, B-A-Y-B-E. Holla at the Mixed Tag Show on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you click on the links for the WWE Shop merch. And also for our collar and elbow, use the code TMTS, which stands for The Man That Stands. Is there anything else you want to add?
If Becky doesn't win this WrestleMania match,
forget that. If Kofi don't win this match,
if Kofi does not win this match,
there's gonna be problems.
If Seth, see, this is the thing. It's so.
I don't know about Seth. Like you know me, I'm a Brock guy, so I'm cool with that.
Delusional.
But Becky and Kofi, if they don't walk out, because they all three can't win. That's a fact. They all can't. All three. Okay, out of those three, which one would you pick? Two. Pick two to win.
Obviously, Becky and Kofi. Kofi for the culture. Becky because it has to be done. Because if Charlotte Flair,
I mean, they're saying that Charlotte's there to take the pin, so.
Whatever.
You don't believe that?
Ronda needs to take the pin.
She's not taking no pin. She already said that. She's like, I'm not here to lose. And on that note.
Damn, your ego cannot be that big for the better,
You forgot she walked away from
I
losing?
understand, but damn, but you treat your in-house talent like whatever. Listen.
And on that note.
And I truly feel like in the Raw segment where she's like, you're welcome, I truly feel she believes that way.
I do too. I believe it. I believe all this whole Hills persona. I believe that's her.
She truly believes, and ultimately, maybe she's right. That is but it wasn't you that got them to this point.
No.
And on that note,
I bid you.
And I tell you something else.
Really? No. And on that note, I bid you adieu. Goodbye. Mwah. Too soon. And good night.
I did it completely.
You did?
I did this.
It's the Mixed Tag Show. Mixed Tag Show. With Jenna and Blue. Damn.
Hey, did you like this episode? Like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your friends. And don't forget to follow us on our social media pages at The Mixed Tag Show.